Okay, hello. We're back in. So, I kind of want to show the progress that I've made. It's been pretty interesting to say the least. And just want to go ahead and play this little background music again. Okay. Got that going. I don't know how loud that is for real. It should be loud enough to hear this time finally. We'll see. Let's see. Progress that I've made. Pretty interesting. Just want to go ahead. Again. Let's see. Just checking inside of the stream itself. I don't know how loud that is for real. Oh, should be loud enough to hear this time finally. So for me, let's see. Okay. Now I see how loud it is. Okay, good. All right. All right. So back in. So right now I'm working on the basic flow of the game itself, but let's walk through what has already happened. Let's catch you up on that, and then we can take it from there. So if I move this from the home position, then we can go ahead and look at the game itself. All right, so right now, here we are. We're looking at the make money screen. And will it actually be called make money? Of course not. Probably won't have words at all. It'll probably just have little icons like this. But yeah, so, you know, we make money like any old idle game, just like all the rest of them. Everything makes sense. We got a bigger money making button here. We headed over to the inventory screen, so you can look at how much inventory we already have loaded in for each of them. We see the money that we have. We also have the batching, so we can go ahead and grab a full batch of cooking ingredients. We hit that, it runs them all. Some of them take longer than others, and some of them are, you know, just fine. All right, they run quick. So the all-purpose flour runs the fastest, and then it right in order, price and time, they increase. So this screen here, there will be no there'll be no logic to speed these up like typical idle games. I think what's gonna be sped up is the production of these, the money gatherers, because remember, there are quite a few layers to this game. So let's run through the flow of this game. When you start this game up, the whole point is getting money. You got to get money because you got to buy inventory, right? And maybe it needs to be in order, the little menu down here. But anyway, you got to buy inventory. So as you gather your inventory, what you're gearing up for, because you need them all, what you're getting is ingredients to bake your cookies, right? So I have tons of ingredients because I've been testing some logic. The debug functionality was trash. It wasn't giving me the proper ingredients, or it wasn't giving me the proper quantities. Then it was going into negative numbers because my math was off. It was a lot going on, but I've significantly improved this functionality. All right, so once we get to the bake page, I haven't done much work here other than put this little cheat sheet and realize that it was $11,501, not $401, but neither here nor there. All right, so right now, as usual, I can bake cookies. Now, the amount of time that it takes to bake cookies, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. If I'll make it 10 seconds, that'll be the equivalent, or 11 seconds. Maybe I'll change minutes to seconds in this game, where it normally takes me 9 to 12 minutes to bake a batch of cookies, depending on how thick they are, how much how cold they are, because you're supposed to put them in the refrigerator to chill the dough down so they don't spread so much. Well, whatever. Anyway, so when you're baking cookies, 9 to 12 minutes or so. So that bake button will last for 9 to 12 seconds. That way it doesn't take too long to play the game. Well, each time you bake, you hit the bake button. Down here, there'll be an oven or a list of oven, a group of ovens, a conglomerate of ovens. There'll just be a gang of them down here. But the purpose here, so back to money. So you have money to buy ingredients, but you also have money to buy ovens. Down here, I'm going to have an oven network. That way, what you have here is a network of ovens. You can bake one batch of cookies, or you can bake all of them. You can bake all of the cookies you possibly can in the different ovens. So we're going to have to visualize how many ovens you have, of course. So I don't know how I'm going to do that, but that'll be a task for that Jonathan. But also, I'm going to have to put another button down here, and it's going to be for the bots, because everything can be automated. Getting money, producing inventory, and of course, baking. Okay, so this number will eventually tick up on its own, right? Same with these. You'll no longer need to spend your money. They'll just produce themselves, the ingredients. And same here, just clicking this button, you will just see numbers constantly ticking down, and it'll probably start out a lot slower. The amount of time that it takes to auto click another, and the more bots you put on it, the more often the clicks happen. And it's not going to be just like one every 10 seconds and then you get a second bot. All right, now you get one every 5 seconds, like it doubles it. No. I'm gonna do it where maybe 100 of them, adding 100 bots is how you double, or 25 or 5, whatever the number is. But a certain number of bots are going to be required in order to speed up the progression of the automation of making money, the automation of making ingredients, pulling in new ingredients, and then the automation of baking the cookies themselves. Now, once we've gotten to that point, though, how do we automate in the first place? Well, the bots are made from the old scrap parts of the ovens that you've bought. Oven after oven after oven, you've continued purchasing ovens to because let's say right now that I have a ton of money and a ton of inventory, I'm gonna need to bake all of these. Now right now it's just a button. I just keep, if I kept clicking, it'd just keep baking cookies. That's cool and all, but I want to put an oven, or maybe even a horizontal or vertical scroll view of all of the ovens, and literally when we hit bake, if we're doing them all, We'll probably put some buttons here, 1, 5, 10, or whatever, all, as many as possible, or max, just pretty much how we have it here, something like that. So I put these buttons here, and then we hit bake, and then the whole network of ovens will then be triggered. So, yeah, but if I put an actual number of ovens and it's just a scrolling list of stuff, it'll probably scroll on forever. So, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'll probably just put a number of how many ovens, and then this bake button will utilize the number of ingredients that it needs, multiplied by the number of ovens you have at that time. But the prestige, because every idle game has some kind of prestige system. Well, prestige system is leveling up the ovens. The oven slowly ticks up how fast you can bake your cookies, right? And just slowly. And then eventually you'll have a monstrous oven that can bake cookies like this, where you just every time you click, they'll just pop out. It'll be a ton of them. So once that prestige happens, though, you just have a slew of ovens. You probably purchase hundreds of them. So then those ovens can be broken down into scrap, which then is used to build bots, right? So you have to buy ovens and prestige. You have to prestige at least once to build any bots. Bots don't cost money. They just cost oven scraps. So of course they cost money because you get a certain amount of oven scraps per oven that you destroy. So it's going to be a whole thing. All right. Now, once you've destroyed your oven scraps, your oven, and turned it into scraps, then once you prestige for the first time, you'll get a pop-up that says, "Hey, you have a ton of ovens over here. Would you like to turn them to scrap?" And it won't be a yes or no. It'll be like, "Hey, we got all these ovens. Turn them into scrap." You hit OK, and now you have another currency called scrap. So right now we have money, we have our inventory, we have cookies. All right, now we just added in ovens, and then the last thing we're gonna have is scrap, and last two things, the scrap and then bots, right? Now, yes, there's a lot of different currencies, and I'm not gonna inflate that anymore now that I think about it. Wow, so we have the money, which are the stars. Then we have to keep track of all of the inventory. Wow. Okay, this can get very convoluted now that I'm hearing this out loud. Wow. Okay. We got the cookies themselves. Now the cookies are important because we know we gotta keep the little guy away, because the longer he stays here, the closer there's gonna be a bar up here where mom is gonna show up, and once mom shows up, we'll either lose the game or we gotta give her cookies. This is probably gonna be a significant amount of cookies to get her to go away. But anyway, yeah, this is the game loop. We buy money. I mean, we watch ads to get money. We use that money to both fuel producing inventory for our cookies, as well as all right, so we're getting the inventory to then bake our cookies in the ovens, which then can be turned to scrap for the bots. Bots are built to automate each and every level of the interaction, and ultimately you're automating because, of course, you don't want to sit here and press this button over and over again. this is cool and all, but at the end of the day, the whole point of idle games is to automate. You want to systematize something and then automate that system. That's what idle games are cool for to me. I'll say, I don't know what they're cool for other people. So anyway, that is what I have today. We got the most of the bugs taken care of. So now, it'll allow me to do some things, and then it'll automatically switch them to singular mode because it notices, hey, we can't buy any more batches. A batch costs is 11,501, and I only have 7,720. So clearly we can't buy a batch. No problem. But we can switch over to this over here, the individual ingredients, and so you just switch them all over. Now I'm trying to think, is this necessary, or do I just stick with the individuals? I don't know. That's something to figure out clearly, but I'd like to give the best experience, the user experience I possibly can, and I don't really know what that best user experience is. I'm gonna redo these slots a bit more, because when you look at it on a phone screen, it's not bad, but the size of this text here is too small. So it's this, because the phone is about that big, right? Let me see. A little bit smaller than that, but I mean, it's a phone is like that big, and I'm gonna have to lean all the way in to be able to see. But of course, that's what I'm doing anyway. If I'm playing the game, I'm here, So it's a small screen in the first place. So yeah, I'll have to build it out, and then really be able to see what's really going on. So anyway, I think that's it though. I covered all the different changes that I plan to make, and I'm just excited to see what all happens with the game. And it's crazy. I've been wanting to build a game for a very long time. I made multiple attempts, utilize all kinds of technology to attempt to really finish a game. And all I found out over this little time is pretty much how kids are when they go and pile up their plate when it's time to eat. They see all the good stuff, and they're like, I just want to stack it on top. Some more and more. It's so much. And then they start eating, and it's like, man, this is so good. So good. All right, I'm starting to get tired. Okay, all right. You still got a mountain of food on your plate. Well, your eyes were bigger than your stomach. You really think that you can put more in it. But the truth of the matter is, you can't. You really can't. You don't have the skills. You don't have the understanding of how. There's a lot of work that goes into creating these games. So simplifying your idea, getting it to a point where it's reasonable enough for one person to create, that's probably the most important thing. So stay reasonable when you're trying to create these things, whatever it is. All right.